Now, I'm going to do like I let Ace and Dave do. I've been starting off, but this is Penn State. We are. So,
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
do
Well,
your
yeah.
thing, bruh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, yeah. Looking at a Penn State team who had hosted a college football playoff game last season, got to the college football semifinal, and was runner-up in the Big Ten championship game. So a lot to build on. You're looking at a returning offense of Drew Aller, great quarterback. You're looking at the Nick Singletons and Katron Allens of the world. Really a team that is looking to retool and go win a national championship. We talked about the addition of Jim Knowles as the defensive coordinator. You're going to have Andy Kotelnicki back for year two at offensive coordinator. So a little bit of familiarity on the offensive side of the ball, and then a little bit of a change on the defensive side of the ball, but bringing in former national champion coordinator last season. Upgrade for sure. So, I mean, my expectations for this team, even if I wasn't as biased as I'm about to be, is extremely high. I do think this is a championship or bust season for the Penn State Nittany Lions. I don't think I can say that many more years. The big thing to talk about, though, is the transfer portal and the wide receiver room. I think Penn State fans can agree, and college football watchers across the globe can agree that the last few years, wide receiver has been a troubled issue for the Penn State offense in unison with such a great running back room and a great tight end room. They do lose Tyler Warren to the draft, and they do lose Abdul Carter to the draft. So two huge losses, one being your best offensive player and your best defensive player. But we have Trevor Pena, a wide receiver transfer from Syracuse that I'm excited about. Devontae Ross coming.
Hold on, I got to stop you.
Go ahead.
Got to ask the question.
Yep.
Did y'all pay the $2 million?
Hard to say. Hard to say. I mean, hey, I'm not going to say no because I don't know, but it's definitely the rumors are out there, and to say I'd be surprised if it wasn't or if it didn't happen, can't say that. But you also get Devontae Ross, another wide receiver coming in from Troy, and my computer just froze. Can you still hear me?
I hear you good.
Okay, cool. And Kyron Hudson from USC. So really three brand new wide receivers on this starting offense. Liam Clifford is probably going to be the wide receiver 4, younger brother of Sean Clifford going into his senior year. But three new tools for Drew Aller to get the ball to. Last year, when push came to shove, Penn State struggled against the Ohio States and the Notre Dames of the world. In my belief, solely to just wide receivers not being able to get open. Drew Aller, obviously a huge prove-it year for him. They are going to lose their backup quarterback in Bo Pribula, who transferred to Missouri. But this is Drew Aller's senior season. He is projected to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country and potentially a very high draft pick going into the year. So with Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, and Katron Allen, this offense is essentially holding three of the better seniors in the country, in my opinion. It's really going to be how does the new offense look with these three new wide receivers on the outside? Can they get open, and can they provide some sort of relief to Drew Aller? The defense, like we talked about, Jim Knowles coming in, defensive coordinator from Ohio State. Really, in my opinion, going to be another great year for the defense, returning Danny Sutton, Zane Durant, Tony Rojas. The secondary will be the question mark. However, they are returning a lot of people as well. So that's another year of experience under their belt. Excited to see what Elliott Washington can do. They do bring in a safety transfer, Mac King from Alabama, or King Mac rather, from Alabama. And then you're going to have A.J. Harrison, Zion Tracy back, and Zakee Wheatley. So can't talk enough about the returning players. Obviously, I talked about Warren and Abdul Carter, but this is a roster that was one game away from the national championship last year and lost two great players, but is also bringing back a loaded roster with a national championship defensive coordinator. So, my personal opinion, this is a make it or break it year, a championship or bust season for Penn State, and I'm looking forward to see what they can do.
Yeah, I think the words you're looking for is do or die. It's
Yep.
now or never.
Exactly.
And I couldn't agree more. Drew Lar, though, oh man, I think we're on the opposite end of the spectrum with Drew Lar. I think Drew Lar has arm talent. Absolutely. Do I think it's Drew Lar? I think it's Drew Lar decision making that gets him in trouble. I said it before on the podcast, on the Refuse to Lose podcast, when we had one of the former Penn State's defensive linemen. We interviewed him. I forgot his name. But it's up here with Drew Lar, in my opinion. Now, I do think the addition of the three receivers you talked about, especially Devontae Ross, I think he's an underrated addition coming out of Troy. I think that may help a lot. And with the OCs talking about he wants to revamp Penn State's passing game last season, second year with Drew Lar, better receivers, in my opinion. Love Trey Wallace to death, but didn't really have much help. Julian Fleming proved to be not so good coming from Ohio State. It was basically Tyler Warren and possibly Trey Harris or bust. So I do think with those three receivers, you give Drew Lar more of an option. You mix in the run game, like you said, with Singleton, which I expect Singleton to get more carries. Granted, look at the stats. You see 172 carries, but you see K-Tron getting 220. I think Nick Singleton should probably get the more of the bulk of the carries, in my opinion. That's just me personally.
Yeah, I think that was more attributed to Singleton dealing with some injury last season.
Okay, I can respect.
But I agree. They need to get Singleton. Singleton is your home run hitter. They like to joke and call him thunder and lightning, and Nick Singleton's definitely your lightning in the bottle there.
Yeah, so respect. But this team, to me, is just all on Drew Lar. Drew Lar doesn't make the mistakes. He doesn't have the interception like the Notre Dame game. Then, hey, you might could compete for a natty. But if Drew Lar just don't got it, or if he's making those mistakes, I think your ceiling is. I don't want to spoil, but I think your ceiling, Big Ten championship game, your roof. Oh, excuse me. Your ceiling, is the natty. Your floor is the Big Ten championship game. But I am super high on Penn State, as you can tell, as we were doing other teams when they played against Penn State. I had them losing. And Dennis Sutton, is potential defensive player of the year, in my opinion, this upcoming season. He had a really spectacular year alongside Abdul Carter. It is his chance to prove it now. He's the guy that teams will be looking to attack on the defensive side of the ball. It's no longer we have to stop Abdul first, then Sutton. It's now we have to stop Sutton on the line, and then maybe a Zane Durant or somebody else. But if he can have a great season, he could be potentially a defensive player of the year candidate for the Big Ten, especially because it's hard for anybody outside of pass rushers to win defensive player of the year. Now, he is in a tough conference where they do have guys like Caleb Downs and Dylan Thiemann who can win defensive player of the year at safety, or Corey Pritchard, like we said, at Minnesota, who can win defensive player of the year. But he, in my opinion, is one of those guys that can win it as well. But a transfer I like to touch on from North Carolina, Amari Campbell, transferred in that linebacker to replace possibly Kobe King. 76 total tackles, 45 solos, 6.5 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. So that's another pickup there that was good for your defense. But some numbers: 26 in offense, total offense, 7th in total defense, 66 in passing, 17th in rushing, 28th in scoring offense, 31st in passing defense, 9th in rushing defense, 8th in scoring defense. If you're ready, we can get into the schedule.
Let's do it.
Short and sweet, undefeated.
Short and sweet, undefeated. I do want to touch on, though, the first 3 games, Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova. I know Penn State's been getting a lot of slack for their out-of-conference schedule as late, but I think when you look at what the SEC has been doing, this is very fair. So we touched on it a little earlier, going into that Oregon game. 4 home games to start the season, and that 4th home game being the whiteout against Oregon, going to be the real test. Outside of Oregon at home and Ohio State on the road, there's absolutely no reason Penn State should be losing more than 2 games this season, and that would be the absolute worst case scenario, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that this is again a reloaded roster, like you said before. And I mean, I want to touch on your comment about your out of conference schedule. I mean, I know I joked with Michigan, but it's Michigan. I'm always joking with them. But like, there's no different than anybody else in the Big Ten with
So,
our weak non-conference. Ours is what Western, Boston College, and Youngstown State, which is the FCS school. Um, you see, Michigan plays New Mexico first game of the year, so. And I mean, and to y'all credit, y'all did play West Virginia the last 2 years. Now West Virginia didn't live up to the hype that they had coming into last season, but the year before had a really good season, and they played y'all pretty decent. So I mean, y'all not doing nothing different than anybody else. And like you said, the SEC, they be playing like North Alabama and UL Monroe and Mercer, Citadel. So I feel you on that. But yeah, I have y'all being undefeated. Like you said, the two tests being Oregon at home in the whiteout, which favors y'all time difference. Y'all at home, got the home crowd behind you. Oregon starting a guy with not that much experience, and Ohio State on the road, but y'all are one of the few teams that play Ohio State extremely well consistently in the Big Ten. And again, they have a quarterback position battle. We don't know what that quarterback battle is going to look like up until that point, but with a really good defense, Jim Knowles was on that staff just last year. He has knowledge, so yeah, Jim Knowles is also a big reason why I have y'all going undefeated.
no, I agree. I agree. The yeah, I can't touch on it enough. I just think the Drew Aller struggles are warranted, and I hear you loud and clear. The big thing for me is just is that wide receiver room ready to compete, because what we saw last year against Caleb Downs on Tyler Warren wasn't a favorable matchup, and same thing in the Big Ten championship, or I'm sorry, the college football semifinal against Notre Dame. You can just tell the wide receivers were struggling to get open.
Yeah, James Franklin also got to shake that narrative, which is a fair narrative about him not being ranked team. So, and I see Joe said right here, James Franklin says the best team he's had, including has had, including coaching staff. This is 100% true in my opinion. Even
Absolutely.
the team with like Saquon, this might be better than them. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah, no,
top to bottom.
If anything, it's the team with the most expectation.
Yeah, I don't know, but the team with like Saquon, it was what Saquon, what Chris Godwin still there, or was he gone by then? No, Godwin was gone, right?
Godwin was there, but you have to understand, Chris Godwin was like a third-round draft pick and not really highly touted at it. I mean, he was a great college football player, but I think I would argue he made a bigger name for himself in the NFL than he did.
True. And then what? It was with Sean Clifford. I'm not that high. I was never that big
Saquon,
of a Sean Clifford
the
guy.
year they won the Big Ten championship was Trace McSorley.
Oh, even worse. Well, no, I like Trace McSorley more than I like Sean Clifford. I'll take that back.
Yeah.
But
that
still,
was Saeed Blacknall, Chris Godwin.
Who was like your edge rushers? Was that Micah? Oh no, Micah didn't play yet, right?
Michael wasn't there yet. Who was on that defense?
Y'all always got a tough defense.
Yeah, linebackers were like Kabinda, Marcus Allen.
Safety.
Marcus Allen's with safety. I'm trying to think who was on the line. I can't even think who was on the line that year.
Was it y'all had Yatir Montes Gross, right?
Yeturgos Matos, but I believe that was after.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I don't know. I think this still might be a better team.
And
then, like you said, including the coaching staff. So I'm not mad at that. By James Franklin, you, James Franklin, have to get over that hump as well. But yeah, short and sweet, undefeated.
Let's get it.
See, Ty, I'm not a hater. Remember what I was talking about backstage about somebody might be calling me a hater, but that was for Ty. I got y'all going undefeated, bro. So if you see this, I keep it real on the pod. But we can move forward.